A new global report has found that the world is experiencing its lowest level of peace since the end of the Second World War. The Global Peace Index released by the Institute for Economics and Peace reveals a rise in conflicts and militarization across the globe in today's time. The report states that there are currently 59 active state-based conflicts worldwide. And 3 more than last year, and the highest number recorded since the end of 1945. That's the year World War II ended. According to the United Nations, World War II claimed at least 60 million lives. Some examples of active state-based conflicts worldwide are the 3.5-year-old war between Russia and Ukraine that we are witnessing, then Israel and Iran, and the Gaza war, among others. The analysis in the think tank report shows that tensions are deepening not just within countries, but are also crossing borders. The report says 78 countries are currently involved in conflicts beyond their territories. It attributes the increase in levels of militarization to rising geopolitical tensions, breaking up of traditional alliances, and rising economic uncertainty. The report also highlights a reversal in a nearly 20-year trend of declining militarization, adding that in just the past 2 years, 106 countries have expanded their military capabilities, perhaps signaling a growing reliance on military force over diplomacy. Even the ability to resolve wars has weakened drastically. According to the report, compared to the 1970s, when nearly half of all conflicts ended in decisive victories, only 9% reached similar conclusions in the 2010s. Peace agreements have also become rare, dropping from 23% in the 1970s to just 4% in recent years. This year's Global Peace Index measured peace in 163 countries, covering over 99% of the world's population. It found that overall global peacefulness dropped by 0.36% over the past year. While 74 countries saw an improvement, 87 experienced declines. Iceland remains the world's most peaceful country, a position it has held since 2008. It's followed by Ireland, Austria, New Zealand and Switzerland. Well, on the opposite side, Russia is now ranked as the least peaceful country, followed by Ukraine, Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo and Yemen. Region-wise, Western and Central Europe rank as the most stable parts of the world. In contrast, West Asia and North Africa remain the least peaceful, while only South America showed signs of improvement. That's last year, with peace levels rising in 7 out of its 11 countries. Well, Israel's internal divisions are deepening over the country's military goals on Iran. Last Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that regime change in Tehran could emerge as a consequence of Israel's military operations. Netanyahu made the comment just days after the launch of Israel's military campaign Operation Rising Lion last Friday. While the IDF said that the goal of the war is not a change in regime, but dismantling of Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs. In an interview with Fox News, Netanyahu said that regime change in Iran could be a result of Israel's military attacks on Iran, because in Netanyahu's words, the Iranian regime is very weak. Take a listen.
We can't have the world's most dangerous regime have the world's most dangerous weapons. We're protecting ourselves, but by doing so, we're protecting many others. Could certainly be the result because the Iran regime is very weak.
But that view of Bibi is not universally shared within Israel's political leadership. Israeli President Isaac Herzog said that regime change in Iran is not Israel's objective. It is not Israel's goal. He said that Israel's goal and aim is to dismantle Iran's nuclear program. And former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak has also questioned the feasibility of a regime change in Iran. while Barak, who served as the Israeli Prime Minister between 1999 and 2004, admitted that removing the regime in Iran is theoretically possible, he warned that achieving such a goal would require full-scale cooperation from the United States of America, something he believes is highly unlikely. Barak called the entire idea of a regime change as wishful thinking. Israel's foreign minister earlier today also said that regime change in Iran is not a goal set by Israel, well, at least for the time being.
It is not, at least until now, one of the goals that the Security Cabinet had stated. The goals are connected to the nuclear program, to the ballistic missiles program, to the elimination program. This is the goals that was stated by the Security Cabinet. It can be a result, but it's not a goal for the time being. Maybe it will be changed in the future.
Despite Netanyahu's comments, both current and former Israeli leaders have made their stance clear. Israel's military focus should remain taking out Iran's weapons programs and not on any regime collapse. Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned the US against getting involved in the Israel-Iran war. He has warned of unpredictable consequences if it intervenes militarily. Putin had offered to mediate between Israel and Iran earlier, but US President Donald Trump yesterday said that he had turned down that offer. In fact, he said he rather told Putin to mediate the Russia-Ukraine war first, raising tensions on the matter even further. The question now is, how long before Russia itself gets involved in this war? Russia has raised strong concerns over the safety of its nuclear personnel in Iran after the Israeli strike near the Bushehr nuclear power plant in Iran. Alexei Lekashov, who is the chief of Russia's state-run nuclear energy agency, Rosatom, cautioned that any military action targeting the Bushehr facility in Iran could trigger a disaster similar to the 1986 Chernobyl incident. Now, the Bushehr plant, located in southern Iran, is Iran's only functioning nuclear power station. Russia constructed the site and continues to expand its capacity with one active reactor and two more planned. There was confusion early in the day today when an Israeli military spokesperson claimed that Israel had hit the Bushehr site in Iran. But that statement was later withdrawn by a separate Israeli official who said that it had been a mistake and declined to confirm whether the facility had been targeted or not. Putin, however, told reporters that Israel had assured Moscow of the safety of Russian nationals working at the Bushehr site. However, Moscow acknowledged that it had pulled out some of its staff from the area. According to the Russian president, the core Russian workforce, still numbering in the hundreds, is still in place. And when asked whether Russia would provide additional support to Iran in the ongoing Israel-Iran war, Putin said Tehran had not requested military assistance. He reaffirmed strong bilateral ties and pointed to the continued Russian deployment at the Bushehr site as evidence of support.
Our specialists are working in Bushehr. There are 250 people plus those on business trips. The total number can reach 600, and we are not leaving. Is that not support? Well, Iran hasn't asked us for any other support.
Russia's foreign ministry also addressed the situation. Spokeswoman Maria Zakharova criticized any military actions against civilian nuclear infrastructure in Iran, calling such attacks unlawful and unacceptable. She said Moscow remained particularly concerned about the safety of its citizens in Bushehr.
Russia calls on the Israeli leadership to immediately stop attacks on nuclear facilities and sites under guarantees and under IAEA International Atomic Energy Agency, verification activities. We are particularly concerned about the safety of the Bushahar nuclear power plant, where Russian specialists are working.
Russia and Iran signed a strategic partnership in January, and Moscow maintains diplomatic contact with both Tehran and Tel Aviv. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister also warned against the involvement of the United States of America in the regional conflict, stating that any expansion of the war would be dangerous and difficult to control and contain. Iran continues to supply Russia with Shahed drones, a military arrangement that began shortly after the Russia-Ukraine war broke out in 2022. Observers note that rising instability in West Asia could affect nearby regions like the South Caucasus, where Russia maintains influence, adding that an Iranian regime collapse risks Russia losing one of its key allies. The question now being whether Russia will get roped into the Israel-Iran war directly or not. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth got into a heated exchange with Democratic senators on Wednesday. This as U.S. President Donald Trump weighed joining Israel in strikes on Iran. While testifying on Capitol Hill, Hegseth declined to comment on whether the Pentagon had prepared strike options against Iran. He said, "The U.S. military is ready to carry out any decision that U.S. President Donald Trump might make on Iran." However, this did not go down well with the lawmakers who were there, who then countered Hegseth aggressively over several issues. Take a look.
Secretary, but my question for you is whether you have been asked actively to provide options for the president regarding a strike in the Middle East.
If I had or I had not, I wouldn't disclose that in this forum, Senator. My job, our job, Chairman and I, at all times, is to make sure the president has options and is informed of what those options might be and what the ramifications of those options might be.
I appreciate that.
You mentioned the troops in the region.
I
Maximum
expect
force protection at all times is being maintained. We know right now that Tehran understands exactly what the president is saying. He said 60 days. The world can believe it. The world cannot believe it. He said 60 days. They had an opportunity to make a deal. They should have made a deal. President Trump's word means something. The world understands that. And at the Defense Department, our job is to stand ready and prepared with options, and that's precisely what we're doing.
So is this an opportunity now to reestablish deterrence the way it was done in the first administration?
Senator, I think we already have, in many ways, in this environment, reestablished deterrence. The question is, in the coming days, where exactly what direction that goes. Evidence that you have that an order like that has ever been given.
Giving that order to your predecessor, to a Republican Secretary of Defense, who I give a lot of credit to because he didn't accept the order. He had more guts and balls than you because he said, I'm not going to send in the uniformed military to do something that I know in my gut isn't right. He was asked to shoot at their legs. He wrote that in his book. That's not hearsay. So your poo-pooing of this, it just shows you don't understand who we are as a country. Who we are. And all of my colleagues across the aisle, especially the ones that served, should want an apolitical military and not want citizens to be scared of their own military. I love the military. I served alongside my whole life, so I'm worried about you tainting it. Have you given the order? Have you given the order that they can use lethal force against honor? I want the answer to be no. Please tell me it's no. Have you given the order?
Senator, I'd be careful what you read in books and believing it, except for the Bible.
Oh, my God.
And I'm going to ask you once again, to shoot peaceful protesters in the legs, would you carry out such an order from the president?
Senator, as I've said before, of course, I reject the premise of your question and the characterization that I would be given or are given unlawful orders. It's all meant to attempt to smear the commander-in-chief, and I won't fall for it.